Yo, what's good people? I welcome you back again to another podcast presentation of Yosef's 2 cents. I am he, Yosef X. And tonight I want to talk money. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about money because there seems to be this misconstrued notion about the reality of how money is and what money is not. Then I also want to touch on what everybody seems to be all uptight about: passport bros and relationships. I'm going to set the record straight, and I'm going to give you my 2 cents on that as well. But in the meantime, sit back, unwind, relax, and let us sit down for the next few moments and let's reason together. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few moments. All right. Welcome back, folks, to another podcast presentation of Yosef's 2 cents. I am he, Yosef X, and I am happy to have all of you to join us tonight. See, quite a few of y'all has already come in. J. Cole, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. Brother Barron, good evening to you. Good evening to you too, my dear. Thank you for joining us as well. You know, my lady and I, we've been wondering about you, J. Cole. We've been wondering if where you've been. I was thinking that, you were the caretaker of your family and things of that sort, but you've been in Facebook penitentiary. Well, nevertheless, bro, thanks for coming out, and it's good to see you again tonight. Boy, where do I even begin? Because there is really so much that has been going on I want to talk briefly about this whole Jason David Frank tragedy. But before I present my brief synopsis on this, I understand that there's going to be a memorial held for him tomorrow morning. I want to say around 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or 10 o'clock Central. But I'm not for sure the time, the location of the time, but I do know it's 10 o'clock if I'm not mistaken. And I'm thinking it's going to be Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be live streaming for the memorial of one Jason David Frank. And this man was 10 years older than me at the time of his passing. He was 10 years older than me. He was 49. I'm 39. But he made my childhood as well as everybody else's childhood memorable, awesome, remarkable, whatever adjective and verbs you would like to use. He made that so much more. He made our childhoods that and so much more. It's tragic all around. His passing, his death. Because, he was going through a terrible divorce at the time. And it was just heartbreaking, and so it's really tragic because, once again, from the reports that I myself have been reading and have been hearing about, this poor man decided that he would delete himself. He would murder himself because he was going through a tragic divorce. And he had already been through a divorce once before. And needless to say, his widow or his ex-wife is really being put through the ringer now. I mean, people are saying all kinds of making all kinds of incendiary statements and remarks. And what's surprising is that she hasn't even turned off her social media accounts. But it's unfortunate because, number one, an issue that continues to be swept under the rug is mental health. I want to touch on that for just a moment before we talk money tonight. See, the mental health, just the topic itself, is taboo. And I really would like to know, why the hell is it taboo? Why is the subject of mental health taboo? In order for people to have a healthy life and have healthy bodies, your mind has got to be healthy. Your environment, your ecology has got to be clean. It's got to be healthy. That's the first point I would like to make. The second point that I would like to make also is all this vagina worship is sickening. It is. See, as long as a woman has a vagina, she's 100% right. Whatever happens to her, that's tragic. Oh, boo-hoo. But when it comes down to a man, The anti-man and anti-masculinity and anti-boy campaign continues. And that's why a lot of men are starting to grow cold-hearted and cold-blooded, and they are starting to deep six people. And if they're not deep sixing people, meaning taking them out and murdering them, guess what else is happening? More and more men are growing indifferent to everybody. And if they're not growing indifferent and they're going their own way, then unfortunately they're doing the same thing that Mr. Jason David Frank and so many other men have done. You toxic bitches are going to learn one way or the other. You cannot treat a man like a damn tool. Now, when I use the term bitch, I'm using it in terms of what the Apocrypha or how the Apocrypha uses or describes a woman that's shameless. Because a lot of you females, you have no shame. You have absolutely no shame, none. And that's why a lot of you are starting to get deep sixed. And if you're not getting deep sixed, you're starting to get your ass beat. This is a reality. But nobody wants to talk about it. And as quiet as it is kept. As quiet as it's kept. More and more men are walking away. And then if a woman does not know how to keep her hands to herself, then the man is starting to knock her teeth out of her mouth. Let me get to your observations for just a moment. J. Cole says, the past month has been crazy. My childhood Power Ranger deleted himself because his wife divorced him. A black woman got killed in Mexico by 6 of her friends. Takeoff got killed. He continues. I wonder how his wife sleeps at night. This shows women don't care about marriage vows. Plenty of men die of heartbreak. He continues. Women don't care about your mental health. Just shut up and provide for her. If you are going through something, shut up and suck it up. That's exactly how it is. And see, more and more men are realizing this, and they're packing up their bags and they're saying adios. Lady Marla says that's true. She continues. So it's like men have grown. Yeah, a lot of men have waxed cold. They have, yes. Brother Barron says reckless. Yeah. See, here's the deal. And here's the reality that a lot of people are trying to keep quiet about. Men are sick and tired of being disrespected. Now, if it don't apply, let it fly. And it's a damn shame that I have to say, if it don't apply, let it fly. It's a damn shame that I have to say, not everybody. And see, for somebody that has to come in and jump in somebody's comment thread and says not everybody, you better be careful of them. Because it's gotten to the point now, whenever somebody is speaking the truth, and they're speaking facts and reality and the truth, and some idiot and some sensitive jackass is saying, not everybody, you the same one that's guilty of what is being spoken on. So that's why I said initially, if it don't apply, let it fly. Because common sense tells me that obviously not every woman is like this. Duh. Just like I know that every man is not a Pookie and a Ray Ray. Duh. I realize that everybody is not evil and wicked and savage. Duh. I know that. But what I am addressing and what I am giving you my 2 cents on is the ongoing conversation as to how modern day man is walking away from these wicked Jezebels that are absolutely devoid of emotion and devoid of any morals. You don't have any morals, plain, pure, and simple. Period. Hey, Giselle, what's going on? Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. And see, you even have more and more women that's speaking out against the atrocities that have been hurled at modern men. And guess what? When women are on the same accord as an honorable man, then guess what? Then she's called a pick-me. No, dumbass, she's not a pick-me. She's a truth teller. See, you're the real pick-me. See, look, you have to be honest about something. See, this is where mental health comes into play. And you can tell those men and those women whose mental health is not up to par. You can always tell. It's obvious. An example of it is when you find a woman that is speaking with sense, that is speaking with logic, that is speaking with situational awareness and deductive reasoning. Of course, she's going to be called a pick-me, because the real pick-me is guilty of what that woman is speaking on. Feminism has destroyed women. It has not only destroyed women, but it has also explained the modern day Jezebel, plain and simple. Plain, pure, and simple. That's just one example. Actually, I just presented 2 examples. The first example is with Mr. David Frank, Mr. Jason David Frank, and other men, as well as these delusional goofettes talking about, I don't need no man. I can finance myself. I wonder if you're going to be talking that same garbage 20 years from now. And then a lot of you women, a lot of you Jezebels, you're struggling. And you're talking all this BS to save face. Yeah, you are. You're saying all this really to save face. Plain and simple. And you're right, Brother Barron and J. Cole. Brother Barron says they have a guilt excuse. J. Cole says when they say not all, their guilt is speaking. Gentlemen, you're absolutely right. That is exactly what the deal is. Their guilt is coming out. It's pouring out of their pores. It's not everybody. Duh, dumbass. We know that. But like Brother Barron and Brother J. Cole said, you have a guilty conscience. And your guilty conscience is kicking your ass. See? Literally. It's beating the hell out of you. All that hell that's been residing in you is beating it out of you. And see, peep this. You're jealous of women like Marla. You're jealous of women like Giselle. You're jealous of women like them. You are. You're jealous because they exemplify the kind of women that you yourselves will never be. Period. It's not going to happen. Brother Barron says, I keep my wife from the wilderness of those wild female animals. Brother Barron, I don't blame you. They're toxic as hell. I don't blame you. And you're doing what any intelligent and healthy-minded man would do to protect his wife. And this is one of these episodes where, quite frankly, I'm being honest with all of you. All of my give a dams is gone. All of my F's given are gone. I just don't care anymore. Get mad at me all you want. I don't give a you know what. I don't care. I really don't. Who cares? And all of what I'm speaking on ties into mental health on the part of the man and the woman. And see, you know what's so bad? I'm going to speak on this a little bit more, and then I'm going to talk money with y'all tonight. Mental health doesn't just affect people who we call unattractive or struggle faces or poverty face critters or swamp donkeys or any of that. Nah. Mental illness is universal. You understand me? Mental illness is universal. It's not just here in the United States. It's a worldwide problem. It is. And until we become honest with ourselves, we are not going to get any better with our mental and emotional health until we own up to what we need to do. And you've heard me say once before, look, it's a twofold situation with a simple solution. It's a spiritual problem because you refuse to repent. 2, it's a scientific problem because you fail to improve on your epigenetics. J. Cole says, unless those groups of women are married, keep your wife away from single toxic dames because she'll eventually cheat on one of them on one of those girls' night out one day. That's another reason why men are walking away. Men are walking away. They are boycotting marriages and relationships. They're saying to hell with it because the juice ain't worth the squeeze. I'm taking my resources and I am walking away from you. Let me ask a question. I think winter is here for these toxic dames. What y'all think? I really do. I really think that winter is here for these wicked, no good, whorish, sleazy ass Jezebels. What y'all think? And if it ain't here, it is soon coming. But I think it's here already. I really do. I'm serious. I really am. I really am. I really am. Pardon me about that. Yeah. Brother Barron says, yes, winter is here. Yeah. Let me conclude my 2 cents on this whole ordeal of mental health, because I want to talk about money tonight. Because why are y'all afraid of money? There's a lot of y'all that's frightened and scared to death of money. Why the hell are you scared of money? Anyway, we're going to talk about that in a moment. Giselle says the black women on the internet are pissed about black men getting passports. It's the majority of black women, but I think it's women as a whole. And listen, I've been hearing the reports. I've been hearing the videos. I've been hearing about the podcast and all this other kind of thing. Believe me. Why do you think you haven't been seeing my behind on social media often? As often. Listen, since May of this year, which is 6 months, I haven't been on social media like that at all. And it's for good reason. A man gets sick and tired of women disrespecting the dead. You disrespected Kobe Bryant when he died. You disrespected Kevin Samuels. A man gets sick and tired of all that. Period. Plain, pure, and simple. But I want to say this, and then we're going to talk about money. Winter is here. And all of you sleazy, whorish, no good, shameless assholes, you made your bed. Now you're lying in it. And more men are walking away from you because no man in his right mind wants to be tolerated. He's going to where he's going to be celebrated. Any healthy-minded, self-respecting man is not going to put up with any woman's BS, no matter how beautiful she is, because she's liable to get her teeth knocked out of her mouth. It's plain and simple. It does not take a rocket scientist to figure out, look, a man is being disrespected by a woman. He's miserable and unhappy, and so he's leaving this disrespectful broad. And that's that. It's toxic women that pushes good men away and into the arms and in between the legs of other women. And then she gonna get mad because he slept with this woman that's treating him better than she did. Heifer, you botch. You did it. You freaking did it. This is your fault. This is your doing. And your toxicity is going to continue to be your undoing. J. Cole says by the year 2030, 50% of women in America will be single. That's startling. It may be more than that. It may be more than that. Giselle says all day long they speak terribly about all black men. See, that's the problem. Then they're so damn stupid, they're foolish enough to put us all in the same category. Listen, all black men, we ain't built the same. We don't think the same. We're all in the United States, but damn it, we are on totally different wavelengths. We're on totally different paths. We are not all the same. None of us are. And I already know why they're speaking about all black men, because black men are not putting up with their bull. Melanated men are not putting up with the BS. It's not happening. And because they are walking away from these toxic botches, right? These toxic, shameless broads, they're mad. They are pissed off. And these are the same black women, the same toxic black women that dogs their man out, that uses his resources for their own gain, that uses children as a pawn in their sick and twisted warp game. They use child support as a come up. Same thing with marriage. And men are walking away. They're walking away. And so to to put us all in the same category, that in itself is mental illness. That in itself is mental illness. Lady Marla says, yes, she has a terrible attitude. And let me throw this out here too, folks. People act their genetics. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you say. People act their genetics. They act their genetics. They're acting just like their ancestors did. So however they behave and however they're acting right now, guess what? They can't help it because they're acting. They literally are acting their genetics. But enough about these twisted, amoral, whorish, shameless heifers. It's time to talk munties. It's time to talk munties. It's time to talk money. Yeah. It's time to talk money. Because people are scared to death of money. People talk about money like it's a dirty word. Like, are you kidding me right now? People are so scared and are so frightened of money. They talking about money like it's a four-letter curse word. It's a four-letter word of profanity. It is. And the reality is this. The reason why people are scared to talk about money is because they don't have the right knowledge and the right education of money. And I'm glad that you are not afraid of money, Lady Marla. You love money, and that's good. But you got to be careful of saying you love money because you got a lot of these overly religious buttholes say, how you going to love money? You know what the Bible says about money. Shut the hell up. Shut up. Shut up. Look, nobody is saying that people haven't killed other people for money. I know what the scripture teaches about money. The love of money is evil. The love of money is evil. Listen, this is what this passage of scripture is talking about. When you make money and you put money and make it your supreme being. When you become the servant of money, that's when it gets dangerous. Money is a tool, ladies and gentlemen. That's all money is. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. And if you use it properly, it will bless you. But you have to understand what money is and what money is not. Money is supposed to be your servant. You are not supposed to serve money. Money is supposed to serve you. Listen to me again. Money is a tool, and we all need money to live in this world as long as this world operates, whether it's paper money or whether you put it on your debit card or your credit card or some other kind of card. You need money to live in this world. How else are you going to be able to survive without money? As long as you make sure that you don't serve money, money serves you, because money is a tool. All right? Y'all with me so far, right? Let's talk money. Listen, we going to talk money tonight. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk money tonight. Real spill. We're going to talk money tonight. Because, to be honest, I'm so tired of hearing people, complain and kvetch about money. You complain about money because of the fact you don't have the right understanding and the right education when it comes down to money. That's all it is. That's all. I will say again. When it comes down to money, you have to understand something. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. You have to make sure that money you don't serve. You don't serve money. You don't serve money. Money serves you. When the scripture says that the love of money is evil, it's when like I said, you put money above the Most High. You rob, you steal, and you kill for money. That's when it gets dangerous. That's when it becomes evil. But when you're using money to be a blessing to people, there is absolutely nothing evil about money. Nothing. Now, this is where the scripture applies. When the love of money is the root of all evil. When people extort other people, stealing money for other people, especially if they have reached the heights of economic success and security, they went from one tax bracket to the next. They went to a higher tax bracket. And then you have commoners that is willing to steal and kill and connive for money. Then the scriptures is correct. The interpretation of it is correct. Then money is evil and wicked. when you steal. See? J. Cole says they're scared of money only because they have not been educated on using money. Exactly. He continues, a lot of people use that scripture out of context. There's nothing wrong with money unless you lie, steal, and kill for it. Exactly. We just said that. Exactly. Barron agrees. Marla agrees. Brother Barron says people use their government assistance and child support wrongly. That is another example of the love of money being evil. When you misuse and mismanage your money for selfish gain. Feel me? And when you do that, then that is when the love of money becomes evil. All right. Now, I want you all to pay a close attention, very, very close attention to this. And one of the basic rules of thumb when it comes down to money, watch this. It does not matter if one makes 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, or 8 figures. The number one rule of thumb is you are still on a budget. It don't matter if you are making 5, 6, 7, or 8 or 9 figures. You are still on a budget. Do you know why millionaires go broke and they have to file for bankruptcy? Because they don't have this mindset programmed into their minds. When it comes down to money, their psychological apparatus and their psychological hygiene is gone. They're miseducated on money. They have an overconfidence when it comes down to money. They live above their means and they go out and they spend and they splurge, getting all kinds of unnecessary and useless stuff that is not going to benefit their life or anybody else's life. It's not going to bless their life and it's not going to bless anybody else's life. And then here's another thing. Exactly. They're misguided. Exactly. They're misguided. They're misinformed. They're uninformed, and the whole shebang. Here's another rule of thumb. Watch this. Collectively, right? We all use money to feel better about ourselves and place in society. Listen to me good. We all use money to feel better about ourselves and in the place in society. Meaning, when we spend money, it's more for show and tell. There's no knowledge or understanding of liability and assets. I'll give you an example. Black folk love themselves some Cadillacs. Yeah, we do. Black folk love themselves some Cadillac. But see, there's a danger. And see, when black folk buy Cadillacs, it's a symbol of success. Do you know, as quiet as it is kept, when they see black folk buying Cadillacs, you know what it's actually called in certain circles? In certain circles, it's called a nigger token. Is a nigger token. And when somebody sees a black man or a black woman driving a Cadillac, guess what? They don't see a man that happens to be black driving a Cadillac. They see a black man or a black woman driving a Cadillac. They see a nigga driving a Cadillac. That's the nigger's ride of choice. Y'all didn't know this, did you? Of course you're not going to know this. You're going to keep it hush, hush. Now, if they see a black man or a black woman driving a Lexus or Mercedes Benz or a BMW, guess what? Then you're looked at as a woman that happens to be melanin that has a Mercedes Benz or BMW or Lexus. You're not looked upon as a man with a nigger token or looked upon as a nigger woman with a nigger token. And then when it comes down to money, people don't know how to use money and plan for the future. You don't. Black folk don't know how to plan for no future. People, period, really. People really don't know. People really don't know how to plan for the future when it comes down to money. They only look at it for the short term. But when you look at money, you have to start realizing, look, I got to start planning for my future. Because I know for a fact that I'm not going to be here forever. That's how it is. We use money to feel better about ourselves and our place in this society. We use money as a come up, for show and tell. J. Cole says, and people mismanage money for material items. They live in the hood with a Mercedes Benz. That's one of the major mistakes that black folk have done. You got a luxury car and you living not only in the ghetto, but you living in an apartment instead of a house that is already paid off for. That's paid off for. That's paid for. It's the truth. If you're going to have a luxury car, make sure the house or the home that you living in is paid for. Or you're in the process of paying for it. Because it doesn't make sense to live in an apartment, right? You'll never be the owner of that apartment. The rent is going to go up $100 every year. You'll never be owner. You'll never own it. It will never be yours. Apartments are really supposed to be made for stepping stones. Apartments is actually supposed to be for future first-time homeowners. You are not supposed to be living there for no 20 some odd years. Apartments are supposed to be stepping stones. It's not supposed to be permanent. J. Cole says, I thought a Mercedes Benz was a black person's choice. I would say it is among your more wealthy blacks. I would say that, unless I'm wrong. But I do know at one point, especially from where I was living at the time, and especially here in New York, black folk got Cadillacs. The majority of people that drive Cadillacs and are owners are black folk. You got a few Caucasians that drive Cadillacs, but for the most part, it's black folk. Mercedes-Benz for a black person, that means they got their ish together. That's what that means. J. Cole says, forget using money to go to college. College is played out. There's so many ways to educate yourself. Of course it is. And that observation is a subject all by itself. It's a subject all by itself. I'm going to talk about that in the future. And you're right, Brother Barron. He says, then they don't pay their rent. They sure don't. They sure don't. Here's something else, too. If any man or any woman, anybody, listen to me good. If you are without a personal vehicle, save at least $100 to $200 for transportation to and from work and save your receipts. Save your receipts. If you are without a personal vehicle, save at least $100 to $200 for transportation to and from work and save your receipts. Yeah. That's what I do my doggonest to do. See, I live in a metropolitan city. I live in New York. I live in Brooklyn. Where for me, I don't necessarily need a personal car, because having a personal car, it becomes more of an annoyance than anything else, simply because trying to find parking space is absolute murder. It is an absolute headache. It is an absolute pain in the you know what. It is. And then you have to shovel out snow before you go to work. Nah, bro, I'll pass. I don't need a car. Not here in New York. I have public transportation. There's the bus, there's the city bus, there's the train, there's an Uber. I have options, albeit it's expensive options, but thank goodness I know how to, spread myself out and, help myself last, Yeah. I'm going to share a few more things with y'all when it comes down to money. And then we're going to talk about this whole Passport Bros ordeal. Giselle says she likes college. I mean, you're not alone in liking college. I mean, listen, ladies and gentlemen, please understand. We're in an ever-changing society. Now, institutions of higher learning, they can serve a purpose. They can. In the future, I'm going to talk about the future of institutions of higher learning. Because there are more and more people that are actually losing faith in these institutions of higher learning. And they're going off and they're getting trades. They're getting licenses for carpentry and construction and being a contractor, even welding, and getting their license for being truckers. And they are making excellent money. Oh, yeah. They're making excellent money by being welders, construction workers, contractors, carpenters, you name it. I understand. And of course, I understand that not everybody's going to concur with me. I get it. And it's cool. But we have to address the pink elephant in the room when it comes down to institutions of higher learning. It's a must. We have to. All right. Let me give you all some numbers when it comes down to our spending power. Many college students are using college for their income. You know something? I haven't heard that in a while. I've heard it before, but I haven't heard that in a while. Some people actually make college, like you said, their income. That's their livelihood, going to college. I think it's kind of foolish, but to each his own. J. Cole says there are so many online courses you can take without paying an arm and a leg. More and more people are starting to take that route. More and more people are starting to take that route and just take online courses instead of showing up at the actual building. So they're doing that for many grants. Okay. Oh, for income. Okay. I'll be doggone. I just learned. I just learned something new tonight. Money will make people do some strange and unorthodox things, but what can you say, huh? But aside from that, I want to share this with y'all right quick. I want to share with you all some numbers. And this was from 2019. I think this was, about maybe 2-3 years ago. Okay? And these are just numbers of the buying power, right? It comes down to what we spend on. Now, but your grades must be well, of course, then they're not going to reward and award people that are dummies. I've been hearing reports about that too. I've been hearing reports about that too. All right, look, let me give y'all some numbers about our buying power. And if memory serves me correctly, this was from at least 2 or 3 years ago. Pay attention. We make up 14% of the population here in the United States. Melanated folk, I mean. 14% of the population, that's us. Of that 14%, right, that we have a $1.2 trillion buying power. Let that marinate for a minute. We have a $1.5 trillion buying power. This melanated folk alone. Melanated folk. A $1.2 trillion buying power. Let marinate for a minute. $1.2 trillion buying power. Now, pay attention to what we spend with this. When it comes down to ethnic hair and beauty aids, 65% of melanated folk, we spend that the most. Black folks spend $54.4 million a year just on hair and beauty aids alone. In total, it's $63.5 million. Here's more. Women's fragrance, women's perfumes, $152 million spent by melanated women on fragrance. Feminine hygiene, $54.1 million. Men's toiletries, $62 million. Personal soap and bath needs, $573.6 million. Frozen unfrozen meat and seafood, $761.7 million spent by black folk alone, melanated folk alone. Seasonings, extra, your herbs and your spices, $430 million. Juice, drinks, beverages, $1.4 billion. We went up from million to billion. Watch this. On juices and drinks and beverages, we spend $1.4 billion a year. Peep this. This is going to shock you. Real spill. This is going to shock you. On gum, right? On gum, $122 million spent on gum. On gum. I am not making this up. On gum, $122 million we spend a year. Here's more. On oil for fried foods and shortening for fried foods, $352 million. On refrigerated beverages, $578.2 million we spend. Yeah. And on bottled water alone, we spend $810 million a year. This was a census that was taken about 2 or 3 years ago about our spending power. And J. Cole is absolutely right. He says there was a video of an Asian man saying, we have the most buying power. If we want to make these institutions respect us, we have to shut it down and not spend with them anymore and build our own stuff. Bro, do you know how long I've been saying that? Do you know how long I've been saying this? I've been saying that for a long time. In the Jewish community, do you know how long they keep their money in their own community before they spend it outside of it? An entire 30 days. In the Asiatic community, it's 3 weeks. In the Jewish community and in the Asiatic community, they keep their money within their communities for 21 days and a full 30 days before they even spend it out. We have the largest buying power, but do you know just how long we keep our money in our community? It ain't no days. It ain't no weeks. The amount of time that we spend, that we keep our money in the melanated community is 6 damn hours. It is 6 hours. It's 6 hours in the melanated community. We keep our money in our communities for 6 hours. 6 hours. For 6 hours. For 6 whole hours. That is how much money that lasts in the melanated community. And part of the reason why it only lasts 6 hours is because of what Brother Barron has said. When a black customer shops at black-owned stores, they get disrespected by the staff. That's one of the reasons why, right there. J. Cole asks, how the hell do we spend a high amount of money on all these things? He continues, $122 million on gum. What the you know what? You just said it. That man of the Asiatic community says we have the most buying power. That's why we're able to spend high amounts of money on this, on all this stuff. Because we have the most buying power. We have the highest. We have the most buying power. And because we have the most buying power, but yet we do business with other nationalities that don't give a you know what about us. And when we do patronize our own, we get disrespected by our own. That in itself is sinister and wicked. And that biblical passage of scripture where it says the love of money is evil. We love money from other nationalities instead of our own. That in itself is evil. That in itself is evil. If you really pay attention, right? If you really pay attention to that, that in itself. is evil and wicked. Now, I wish I could delve a little bit more deeper into this subject of money, but I just don't have time. But one day, very soon, my whole time that I'm going to be on the air is going to be discussing money. J. Cole says, honestly, I only spend money in the black community. It's getting haircuts and buying jerk chicken. I usually have to go out elsewhere to get things done. Same here, bro. Same here. For a few weeks, I did this a while back, but for a few weeks, a few days, off and on, I was looking for a melanated owned restaurant that made lamb. I could not find not one melanated restaurant that sold lamb. Couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. They had everything in that restaurant except lamb. The things that I don't eat, they had plenty of it. But when I wanted lamb, nothing doing. Sad, isn't it? But it's the truth. So I completely understand J. Cole's plight. So where do I go to get my lamb when I do eat lamb? I go to the Arabic community. And the reason why I go to the Arabic community is because the diets of the Arabs and the Jews are similar to each other. And by me being Hebrew / a Jew myself, guess what? My diet is similar to the Arabs, to the Arab Muslims. Yeah. There is a bodega that's about 2 blocks from my living quarters. And then there's another one that I go to downtown. And both are the Arabic Muslims. True story. Now, I'm still looking for any black-owned restaurant that sells lamb. I'm still in search for it. Nothing doing. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. I'm going to still keep looking, but so far, I have not been successful. But I hope that you were educated when it comes down to money, and you have a better understanding, better look at money, so you don't get scared of money. Last, scared of money. Now, Brother Barron says, if you do, they're going to charge the hell out of you. Of course. Yeah. It's sad, but that's exactly what they're going to do. Black folk don't make Mediterranean foods like falafels or chickpea salads. They sell plenty of shrimp, crab, and lobsters, though. That in itself is another thesis, too. And it's right there in the scriptures of the Bible where it talks about dietary requirements and laws. It's in the Old Testament. It's in the Torah. I plan to preach and teach on that one day myself, most high willing. But I hope that you all were, enlightened a little bit more, a lot more when it comes down to finance, when it comes down to money. I hope you really got something out of it. And next time, but one of these days to talk about finances straight through, and I'm not going to veer off of any other subject. But that's just a little bit of information that I wanted you all to get for yourselves. Now, for the final few moments that we have together, everybody is still in their feeling about these passport brothers that have given up on these toxic women, and they are going abroad and they're going overseas to find their wife. My pleasure, Brother Barron. My pleasure, sir. My pleasure. Listen, whenever I become educated on something, I need to educate you, the listeners, and the viewers too. So you don't need to be in the cave of ignorance like I was. You need to be on the road to enlightenment in the mind and in the emotion, you see. But I want to talk finally for the final few moments we have together, and I ain't going to be on much longer. I want to say this. I want to talk about these passport brothers. See, everybody is all in an uproar about these passport brothers. And if I have explained to you before, pay attention, right, to the kind of people that have been complaining and kvetching about passport brothers walking away. Because these passport brothers are walking away from the same kind of Jezebel that has caused them to walk away and boycott marriages and relationships in the first place. It's always these toxic ones. When you get involved with these lunatics, these succubus, these spirit suckers, these spirit blood suckers, you always wind up in a sexless marriage, a sexless relationship. And when a man puts his foot down and they walk away, then they're complaining and they're kvetching. And then you even have some idiots. You have some males that are enemies of men. And notice what I said. You have males that's enemies of men, that's going alongside these treacherous Jezebels, and they're getting mad with men that's walking away. See, here's the deal. When a man is wangamathang policing another man, and he's questioning a man about who he chooses to mate with, any man that does that, that's feminine energy. And chances are, they were raised by a single toxic mother with no strong masculine father figure in their life. Still pandering for vagina. I understand why they are walking away. Because as I have said at the outset of this podcast tonight, guess what? They are the cause. A man is not going to be around a woman, no matter how beautiful she is. If she's toxic, that man is getting the hell away from her. Even if that man has tried peacefully to walk away from that woman, and that woman still refuses to take no for an answer, eventually he is going to ghost your ass. Eventually. Men are not going to stay where they're tolerated. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't give a damn what anybody says. A man is not going to stay where he's tolerated. It's not happening. See, a lot of women ask about passport brothers. You know why they're complaining about them? I'll tell you why. They're guilty of some of the same atrocities that men have been complaining that women have been doing for a long time. Most of these females are concubine material at best. And like I said, when you have women that are wifey material, then they're called pick-me's. The real pick-me's are those mentally and emotionally unstable broads, these shameless women, right? These shameless women who refuse to be wife material. And so these women are going to call themselves going to wang him a thing or penis police a man. Please. Just stop. When it's your fault in the first place, Jezebel. And no man in his right mind is going to stay with you. It's not happening. Get mad all you want, but the reality of the matter is no man is going to stick around. Sorry. It's not going to happen. It won't happen. Sorry. And more men are going to walk. You think it's bad now? You ain't seen nothing yet. The worst is coming. The worst is yet to come. As bad as things are now, things are going to grow progressively and increasingly worse. It's coming. It's coming. And besides, J. Cole is right. Why women Why are women mad? Men are just getting up and leaving to go where they're celebrated. Isn't that what they wanted? For those so-called dusty men to leave? That's exactly what you heifers wanted. Miss, I don't need no man. Miss, I'm strong and independent. I can finance myself. I even heard one crazy ass broad say that she could F herself. You heard me. She said she could F herself. She could F herself. She could smash herself. But here's the thing, when it comes down to effing yourself, ma'am, every time you use a foreign object to manually, sexually please yourself, you desensitize the nerves in your vagina. And you have about 3,000 to 5,000 nerve endings in your vagina. And each time yourself even more. Oh boy. Oh boy. You're right, brother Baron. Shoot. They are unkept themselves. He continues. Their panties are twitching also. And some of their wops is just urine. Let's throw that out there too. Lady Marla says teach. Yeah. Yeah. So each time, right, you desensitize, all you're doing is putting yourself and digging yourself into a deeper hole. That's all you're doing. All you're doing is desensitizing your vagina. So when you do finally, if you come around to your senses and you finally find a man that you are sexually attracted to, and you're ready to give yourself to this man, and you and him are about to have sexual intercourse and he begins to penetrate you. You know how when a man penetrates a woman, you ladies have that little gasp when he penetrates you? That little, guess what? That woman that's desensitizing her vagina ain't gonna feel a thing. She gonna lay there like a knot on the log. And the reason why she ain't gonna feel that man penetrate her, she ain't gonna have that. She desensitized herself. And when you desensitize yourself, you gonna be you dead down there. Especially if you use a dildo excessively over and over and over and over again. Come on. See, your preachers ain't gonna teach you this, but guess what? I am. And one of these days, I plan to preach it during our virtual worship service. And most I willing, when we get a building, I'm gonna preach in the building. See? I'm just not going to be as crass about it. And I'm really not that crass tonight. See? But I also will say as well, and time is getting away from me. I'm gonna say this and we're gonna wrap it up. I understand wholeheartedly why these passport brothers are walking away, and they are continuing to walk away. But also, let me say this too. And I'm not trying to wang them a thing or penis police any man, because you're going to sleep whoever you want to sleep with. That's your business. That's between the Most High. That's between you and the woman you choose to sleep with. But let me say this also. I have always encouraged you that when you leave the United States, be careful. And I still say, if and when you elect to go and leave the United States, be careful. I say be careful because you have women overseas that is as every bit as predatory as the women are, these Jezebels are here in the United States, if not more so. I say they're more predatory to the places that you're going to than they are here in the United States. Why? Because the places that you gentlemen are going are third world countries. They're third world countries that you're going to. And here's something else that you haven't even considered. Let me ask you a question. Have you considered even studying the culture of these places that you're going to? How much education do you have when it comes down to these different countries that you're visiting? Think about it. See, you're so gung-ho on finding a wife, which I do understand. But let me tell you something. Let me ask you another question. Have you even considered that if you go overseas, let's say, for example, you go overseas wearing all kinds of jewelry. You're wearing brand name kicks, Versace, Air Force Ones, Gucci, any piece of brand name clothing. You don't realize you leave yourself susceptible to being mugged, robbed, or worse. Because there's a lot of women overseas that don't look at you as a man. They look and they see you as a dollar sign. They see you as a come up. Especially in Brazil, especially in the Philippines, the Dominican Republic. You better be careful. I'm saying all this stuff because your view of the problem with the psychological and emotional apparatus of the American woman, it ain't just American. That's why I said predatory behavior is universal. You understand me? A promiscuous woman is universal. It ain't just confined to the United States. It's universal. being promiscuous and being predatory, they're universal issues. They're universal problems and issues. I understand you're trying to escape it. I understand you're trying to escape the promiscuous woman. I get it. But once again, there are things that you have not taken into account. And then a lot of these passport bros, honestly, they're really not looking for no wives. They just want their wangler things wet. Not all passport bros are the same. And they're not. Not all of them. Some of them are legitimately looking for a wife, while others are just using this passport bros gang for selfish reasons. No situational awareness, no deductive reasoning skills. They're just doing it just out of emotion. No logic, no intelligence, no nothing. It is. It's the truth. Giselle says, Brother Barron says the same mistake they made in the United States. Exactly. Predatory behavior is universal. Promiscuity is universal. Being promiscuous is universal. It's not just confined to the United States. And people don't realize that. They really don't. They do not have any idea. It hasn't come, it hasn't dawned on them. Look, I'm trying to get out of this situation. But you may be just getting out of the frying pan into the fire if you aren't careful. And that's what a lot of brothers just don't realize. It's the truth. But I will say to the passport brothers, be careful, man. Be careful. Be very, very, very careful, sir. I respect the fact that you're looking for a wife because you believe in the institution of marriage. But hopefully in your search for something good, it doesn't cost you your money and it don't cost you your life. See, people don't take into consideration that the culture in the United States is mad different. It's totally different overseas than it is in the United States, because the nonsense that goes on over here in the United States, people wouldn't dare put up with the nonsense elsewhere. And if you don't believe me, ask that WNBA superstar, Brittany Griner. What in the hell possessed your ass to bring marijuana overseas? If you wanted marijuana overseas, you should have asked somebody. They would have gotten it for you, you bringing it overseas. Having a brain is actually a blessing. Having a brain is actually cool. You ought to try it. You ought to try using your brains sometimes, folks. If it don't apply, let it fly. Yeah. Having a brain and using your brain is actually amazing. It's a blessing. It's actually cooler than cool. You ought to try it sometime. Plain and simple. So as I close tonight, I want to give y'all my final 2 cents when I say this. Mental health is not to be played with. Mental health is not to be played with. Stop taking subjects like mental health and looking at it like it is taboo. What the heck is your problem? How many more suicides must take place before we address the issues of mental health? How many more Jezebels must complain and kvetch and have a mental breakdown and a nervous breakdown before we talk about mental health? How many more murder, death, killings and deaths and murders must we experience before we talk about mental health? When? How much more? How much more? So the fact is, ladies and gentlemen, mental health affects us in every arena of our lives, whether you realize it or not. It affects how you live. It affects how you spend your monties. Yes, it does. It affects your monies. It affects you how you spend your money. It affects your relationships personally and professionally. Wrap it up. But please, sir, you passport brothers especially, please be careful. And don't be coming out here being made like a fool. Just be careful. Because predatory behavior is universal. A promiscuous woman is everywhere in the world. Be very, very, very careful. And with that said, folks, I rest my case. That's it. It's been a ball, but the clock on the wall says that's all for now. I'm Yosef X. That has been my 2 cents. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for your input. I hope you were educated a little bit more on all fronts. Join us next week when we have even more subjects to discuss that affects you collectively, directly, and indirectly. Peace and blessings be upon all of you. I will see you on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. I'm tired. Peace. I'm out.